Good Saturday morning, high school sports fans. Welcome to Linglestown Gazette's Scholastic Sports Weekly. I'm your host, Joe Gilloway, alongside my co-host, Mr. John Vellios. We are live from Steelton in Steelton, Pennsylvania, just down one hill from the high school, just down another hill from Cottage Hill, which is where the football team plays. Again, we're live. We got Dr. Nashawn Walker here as well. He's going to be taping the event or the show, probably doing a little post-production, maybe some graphics, so we'll be able to present it in that form too. And local sports photographer Neil Rinaldi's also here with us, so we have it all covered. Please stick with us here. We have a lot going on, and some of this stuff is going to be closer to the middle or the end of the show, but it's a real robust show this morning. And we're going to start by recapping a big Central Dauphin Rams win last night. Then we'll touch on some other local games of interest that John followed last night. Some high school sports news. Then we're going to bring in three of the Rams captains, football captains, talk to them about the season to this point and the big win last night. And then some Steel High athletes, some ex-Steel High athletes that are still members of the community that are taking the initiative to try to bring some of the local sports back to life. Maybe some of the programs have been eroding to a degree over the years, and they just don't like it, and they want to do something about it. So we're going to talk to them about that. Our sponsors for today's show, Nicholas Cantone Painting. Nick can be reached at 717-991-9700. Colonial Custom Building and Design, Mr. Ted Zinn, 717-439-5310. Payer Apparel, Larry Bragg's here. He brought some T-shirts for our assistants and for the CD football players. Larry, thanks for that. Larry's good to us. Payer stands for Pay at Your Own Risk Apparel, and anytime we do a function like this, Larry steps up and he makes sure that the kids leave with a T-shirt. So thanks for that, Larry. And then our last sponsor, or maybe our first today, is Steelton Hair, where we are right now, and we're waiting on Andy Hartwick, the proprietor of Steelton Hair, to come in. We always get a minute or two out of him, so once he does get in, if we can fit him in, we will. Let's get right to the football game last night, the Central Dauphin game. Big win, 35-14 on the road at Trojan Stadium in Chambersburg. Great place for a high school football game. Linglestown Gazette Sports has been at three of the best football venues in the state of Pennsylvania this year. We were at Mansion Park in Altoona. We've been to Harrisburg 3 times, and now last night at Trojan Stadium in Chambersburg. Adam Burkhart came up big again, his second really big game. He had 14 carries. This is unofficial now because I can go to 3 different sources and get 3 different stat lines. But 14 carries for 142 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 receptions for 69 yards, 2 more touchdowns in the air. Noah Hoffman had a really nice game again. He just keeps getting better and better. 9 for 15 in the air, 168 yards, 3 passing touchdowns, goose egg on the interception. So Noah's really starting to come around here, one game at a time. Worth mentioning, Nick Chimenti, 5 receptions for 84 yards and a touchdown. And our place kicker, Krug, has only missed 1 point after touchdown all year. So that's a big deal. I mean, they're scoring lots of touchdowns, and they're getting 7 points out of it, not 6. And that seems to matter, huh, John?
Oh, yeah, definitely. The kicking game is there. Like you said, the anchors of the team, Hoffman, Burkhart, Chimenti, those guys step up, and they've been playing really well the last few weeks.
Right.
And this is the right time to be hitting on all cylinders. They're going into districts and then state playoffs. They seem to be stepping up when they need to.
Right. You want your team to sort of crescendo, to get better and better and better. And it seems like they're playing their best football. Yeah. Even last week in the loss to State College, I thought they played one heck of a game. So
yeah, if they play that game again, I think the way that Central Dauphin's playing right now, I think they'd win it.
Yeah. Just limit the big plays. And they win last week as well.
For sure.
On defense, they shut down a back by the name of Keyshawn Jones, who entered the game as the Mid Penn Conference leading rusher. He was averaging 162 yards a game, 21 carries for 42 yards last night, 2 yards a carry, no big gains, which was, I'm sure, the goal. We're going to ask the guys when they come in. But I'm sure coming off the State College game, the goal was to not give up any big plays, and they didn't. A touchdown at the end, but it was sort of inconsequential. Quarterback Brady Stumbaugh from Chambersburg, 14 of 29, no touchdown passes and 1 interception. The thing that could be considered a little maybe disturbing is eight more penalties for 83 yards, and most of them in the second half.
Yeah, that probably hurt him in the second half, Joe. But the game was pretty much decided by at that point. So, but it's something that they need to improve upon. Definitely.
You can't get away with that in some games.
Yeah.
Luckily or fortunately, they had a 3 or 4 touchdown lead. So, but the one scoring drive for Chambersburg might have been the last touchdown. 2/3 of the yards were on penalties.
Yeah.
And then like a 26-yard touchdown.
I think he did have 1 touchdown pass.
Yeah, well, that was the backup quarterback.
Oh, okay.
He threw a nice ball, too. So let's go around the Mid Penn real quickly. John was sort of keeping track of some of the other local games of interest. So, John, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, definitely. There were some big games last night with some serious playoff implications. So I start off with McDevitt. They pretty much had their way with Mechanicsburg. They won 49-7. They got Susquehanna next week, which is a big game.
McDevitt seems to score from mid-40s to mid-50s every game.
Yeah, they sort of score the chunk of their points in the first half and then sort of shut it down, bring in their reserves in the second half. And going to the next game then, going back to McDevitt there, they got their Tanias Becker back. He was hurt for the last few games. They had him in early, 6 receptions for 39 yards, I believe.
Becker's probably the top receiver in the Mid Penn.
Yeah, definitely.
At least stat-wise, and he's the real deal.
Yeah. Nazir Burnett, is their other star receiver, and he had a big game also. But it was good that they got Becker back for the remainder of the season now, and he should be stepping it up. But going to the next game that's going to tie into that, Cedar Cliff beat Susquehanna 30-0, and Cedar Cliff pretty much shut down Susquehanna.
Yeah, that was a much anticipated matchup, and it really, I wouldn't say, it probably laid an egg as a competitive game, not for Cedar Cliff, of course.
And that was a big game for Susquehanna, and because now they got to turn around next week and face McDevitt.
Right.
And they're going to make the playoffs, but it looks like Cedar Cliff's going to finish the Keystones 6-0, because they're playing Redland next week, and I can't see Redland stopping them.
Right.
Cedar Cliff, I think, was a little underestimated going into this whole season.
Yeah.
I mean, they beat McDevitt.
You watched them beat McDevitt, right?
In a shootout. It was like in the high 40s, 48, 45, something like that.
50 to 43, maybe.
Yeah, and that really set the tone. Then McDevitt goes, after that game, McDevitt next 4 games went undefeated, and they all went into mercy rules.
Right.
And
they didn't like that loss to Cedar Cliff.
No. To McDevitt's discredit, sort of, they weren't facing much those next 4 games.
Yeah, they have some easy games on their schedule, that's for sure.
Yeah, so Cedar Cliff star, of course, Jaheim Morris rushed for over 200 yards, 205 yards, and they have a good outlook going into districts here, I think.
Right.
Some of the other games that from last night, State College beat Altoona pretty easily, 49-14. They're playing Cumberland Valley next week. I think Cumberland Valley's going to give them a game next week.
You think so?
I think so.
I called Cumberland Valley the best 2-loss team, then the best 3, and then and when they were 0-6, Cumberland Valley, I said they're a pretty good 0-6 team.
Yeah.
I meant that. I've watched them play, and they compete. They show up.
They show up. They've won 3 in a row now.
Yeah.
Next week they beat Cumberland Valley beat East 48-17 last night. So
remember, Cumberland Valley started out the season with Coatesville or McDevitt, Coatesville, Central York, who's 8-1. They lost to Harrisburg, Central Dauphin, and Chambersburg.
Yeah,
and that was all in a row.
Yeah, so they handled CD East pretty easily last night, so now they're going to face State College, and I think they got a shot to upset.
That hurts. East still had a good chance of getting into the District 3 playoffs. I think they sat at number 9 or 10, and they had to win probably.
Yeah,
the other teams that were ahead of them, I think they both lost last night. Number 8 and 8-9, so or 7-8.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So some of the other local games, Middletown beat East Penn 28-0. There's no surprise there.
Right.
Hershey lost to Lower Dauphin 45-25. That game's inconsequential.
Right.
They're both out of the playoff picture. Yeah. Palmyra beat Trinity 14-13. It's just a bit of a surprise. Trinity hasn't won a game all year.
Yeah, Trinity entered the game 0-8 and stuck with Palmyra right to the very end.
Right to the very end, yeah. Palmyra scored with a minute to go and then kicked the extra point to win the game.
Yep.
Milton Hershey beat Camp Hill 35-14. That's no surprise there either. Now, Milton Hershey is playing Steel High next week, so we'll get into that. Steel High.
Palmyra at Middletown.
Palmyra's at Middletown. I think Middletown's going to end up handling Palmyra. Yeah. Palmyra started off the season 7-0 until they lost last week.
Right.
And then they lost again last night. Yep. But they didn't really face much up until the last couple weeks. So Middletown probably beat Palmyra is my prediction.
Right. Yeah.
Steel High sort of upset last night.
It's a basketball score, 56-55.
Lost to Boiling Springs, 56-55.
We got our Steel High guys over here that got 2 rings on their fingers from about a decade ago. They probably have some solutions, but
and they have a tough game next week playing Milton Hershey.
Yeah.
And Milton Hershey's had a heck of a year.
Yeah.
Some other very local schools, but fairly local. West Perry lost to Waynesboro 43-40. West Perry went into that game 7-1.
Yeah.
And,
that's a nice program up there, and I think they've got 3 losses now, maybe. Or their first loss was late in the season. They were undefeated for most of the season.
Yeah, so now they have their second loss, I think. So West Perry's going to face Mifflin County next week. Mifflin County won last night. They beat Greencastle Antrim 33-14.
A lot on the line next week with the West Perry Mifflin County game.
Yeah, definitely.
So anyway, thanks, John.
Yeah,
we'll go around the Mid Penn real quickly. Commonwealth Division, Harrisburg beats visiting Carlisle today. They win the Commonwealth. I think they could do that blindfolded. I hope there's no Carlisle people watching, but Harrisburg's tough. And Cedar Cliff, if they beat Redland next week, they win the Keystone. Again, the Capital Division, Middletown hosts Palmyra next week. Middletown wins the Capital for them. And then the Colonial Division, I don't want to get into too much there. There's still a lot of opportunities. There could be a 5-way tie for that title if things go a certain way. So anyway, we'll wrap things up here with the District 3 6A Power Rankings. Central Dauphin, number 4, they beat number 5 Chambersburg last night. They're either going to stay at 4 or move up to 3. And then the losses, number 7, 8, and 10 lost. Chambersburg, Dallastown lost to number 3 Central York, and East High lost to Cumberland Valley. So the top's pretty solidified with Harrisburg, Manheim Township, Central York, and Central Dauphin, and then the rest of them are jockeying for seedings. Some District 3 undefeateds dropped last night. We went in with 5 undefeated teams. Manheim Central won, Lancaster Catholic won. DeLone Catholic lost to York Catholic, who was undefeated. And then Halifax lost to Williams Valley. I think the Steel High guys are familiar with Williams Valley. So there's 3 undefeated teams left in District 3, Manheim Central, Lancaster Catholic, and York Catholic, all 9-0. Local high school sports news, Micah Parsons from Harrisburg High, he was named to the true freshman All-American team. That's a big, big deal.
Huge deal.
Yeah, it's a huge deal.
Very impressive.
Shaquan Anderson Butts, another Harrisburg player. He plays out of the junior college, Iowa Western. He picked up another offer from Toledo to add to Baylor and Mississippi State offers. I'm sure Penn State's still in the mix. That's where he was supposed to go.
He's got a lot to think about.
Yeah, he's got a lot to think about. Yeah, and then good for him. He's an awesome young man. CD Girls Soccer, they got the number 1 seed entering the District 3 tournament. They'll play Hershey, the number 16 seed. If anybody has a softball player in the family, a girls softball player, today between 12 and 5:50, Sam Gress, the 3-way star, sports star at Central Dauphin, is holding a clinic of her own. She will be there working with the girls. It's $20 to enroll. It goes to the Linglestown Softball Association. If somebody has a player that wants to enroll and doesn't have the $20, Linglestown Gazette will take care of that for sure. So just get out to the high school, Central Dauphin High School. Be there by around 11:30 or 11:40, and you can still register. And there's a lot of basketball this weekend at Harrisburg High. Coach Tristan Crawford's here. He'll have his team over there. Today, starting at 4:30, tip-off, down to up to 8:30, there's games. And then tomorrow from 12 to 5, CD plays 2 games today, 2 games tomorrow. East High plays 2 games tomorrow. Also taking part of the Harrisburg boys and girls, Steel High boys and girls, Susquehanna Township boys and girls. So if you really like high school sports, go down and watch Carlisle and Harrisburg play football, and then just take a walk inside the school and watch basketball the rest of the day. That's going to about do it, John. Thanks for helping out on the news.
Joe.
And
Pleasure to be here.
Certainly. We appreciate it. John's now my co-host. He used to be my sort of guest analyst, so whether he likes it or not, he's stuck with me on a weekly basis now. So we appreciate it, John.